Hello everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Studio. So glad to see you stop by. I am starting a new project, and this one is going to be little garden fairies. It's based on Cicely Mary Barker artwork, and I picked up this garden calendar like, and it had all kinds um, of her artwork inside here with these little, I just think they're so adorable. These, that's the sweetest little face. It's just so sweet. So I picked this up, and this is all the seasons. And I also have another small book of her as well, but that I think the paper that it's printed on is a lot more vintagey looking. So I am just going to be working from this calendar. And this was published a while ago. It was published, I believe, in the 90s, late 90s, something like that. No, 2000. So, yeah. So I've cut these adorable little fairies out with all the little pretty flowers, and that is what the theme of the journal is going to be. Now, I am working on the cover, and I have prepared the I took and deconstructed an old book and put in a spine and put cloth over it. So that's where I am on the cover part. But I want to put a 3D, sort of a three-dimensional cover in there of a fairy and a background and some flowers and that type of stuff. So I will take you through how I'm going to do that. So I cut two pieces for a frame out of a pretty heavy chipboard. It's, probably 1/8 of an inch thick, something like that. It's a pretty heavy chipboard, and it's a black chipboard. And I cut two frames. And I'm going to use a black frame. I was going to cover this with paper, because you can do that if you don't have a black or you have a color you don't like. You can cover it with paper, but I think I'm just going to stick with the black because so much is going on with all the prints and the flowers and things like that. I think it would give your eye some rest. You could also, if you don't have black chipboard, you could, if you have the gray type or the other brown type, you could paint it. So I would paint it with gesso first, and then I would take an acrylic paint and paint over it. So you can change the color that way if you don't have the black. And I have chosen a background, and it's a background with flowers in it. And this, I made this on Photoshop by putting digitals in. So the dimension is going to be created with these two thicker pieces of chipboard, and also the image, the cute little fairy that I'm going to be putting on the cover. I glued her to a piece of a food box there. I'm going to cut her out, and that will be, kind of heavy, because what you put in here, needs to be somewhat heavy so that it doesn't bend too easily and such. So I will go ahead and I'll cut this out, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so she's all cut out. My one tip is that when you glue your image onto the cardboard, is to make sure it's fully dried before you start cutting it out. And that way your cuts will be a lot sharper and cleaner, and won't start chewing it up, because it'll, it would be wet if you did it too soon. So she is all finished. Now she is going to be placed in between these two pieces of board here. Try to get her put in there like so. And when you do put it in there, then you'll need to put something behind her, or behind this image, that will level it out with this board here. So in other words, take another piece of the same kind of board, and I'm going to cut a backing for her. Now I'm not going to be able to get down on these legs too much, because this is thick and it's going to be really hard to cut it too skinny, but at least the main body and the back should be supported with some extra height there. And I'm just going to take her and I'm going to trace around her a little bit here. Oops, I don't think I'll be able to go too far on the legs. Really don't really have to do that. So what I'll do, and if you can see, I know the pencil's kind of hard to see there, I am going to cut just in that general area. But I don't want to cut right at the edge because I just want to support the inside of it. So I'm coming within the border of that outside. Just kind of give the body a little bit of support there. See if I can. So I just have a general shape of the back of her. And the reason I want to put this in here is because if you put her between these two frames, which I'm going to be doing to give her support and be dimensional, then, you know, it's possible that over time she'll just start bending and bending more and starting to actually lay flat on the background. And I don't want that. I want it to remain popped up. Now there, you know, there's pop dots that are like those little foam things you can put behind, and that could be used, I think, too. But I do think for the cover, this might be a little bit even more stable than that. So that way she can lay down here and retain that dimension over time. Now I am going to be kind of catching a little bit of her, a little bit of her hand, a little bit of her wing, a little bit of her foot there on the bottom. So let me just see how that might look. So yeah, I think that's about right. Right about like that, giving me just enough to catch in there. And then I'm going to draw on the other side where this line comes at, like so. And that way I will want to cut the black part of it here, this black support here, right at that level, because it's not going to fit in between those two frame pieces if it's too thick. So I'll just do that there and just cut that part off like so. Now I guess you wouldn't have to put it in between the two frames. Probably could just put it down. I don't know, I have to experiment with that and see, you know, what you prefer, how you prefer that to look. So now we're ready to glue this onto the back. Now this is the front of my frame, and this is going to be inside here. Now we're ready to just get her glued in, and we're going to glue her into the first frame here. And it's just a matter of building out. Now you can really go crazy, and you could put in, you know, even more than two frames, 2 layers of frames. You could put in, you know, another third or fourth one if you wanted to really build it up even more so. And I do want her little foot to be in there still, showing inside that. Okay, I think that that is just about where I want her to rest. And I'm going to let that dry a little bit. All right, I have her attached to that first frame. I did add a few more little pieces of this chipboard just to support these little thin legs there so that they have something to rest on. And so this is ready now to be glued onto the background. And the background, I went ahead and put it on a food cardboard box to make it nice and heavy, but you know, I don't know if I really needed to do it, but I went ahead and did that anyway, so that it had, when it adheres to the book, it has something firm to adhere to. And then I'm just going to glue this on top of this here. Now I want wiggle room, so I'm going to venture out and use the Fabri-Tac. I don't know if I should do this because I hate that. I love it and I hate it. I hate how it can leak out and then you have all those shiny spots. So I'm not going to get really close to the inside of that frame. I'm just going to leave a little bit of clearance there, like so. Oops, there we go. And just, I don't know how much that back is going to cover here, but I'm just going to go there and come in here a little bit in this area. Again, I try not to get to the tippy edge there. Just try not to. All right, and then I might go ahead and put a little bit of this glitter glue on these little tiny spots so that if that does leak through, it won't be super shiny. And so I'm just going to pick my place where I want this frame to fall, and I put that little butterfly in there in the scene to make it look like she's looking down at that butterfly. All right, so I think that just about does it. And we'll just press it down. Okay, so now she is lifted. As you can see, she's lifted from the background there. Now, you know, you could really, if this was like a shadow box, then I would lift it up even more. I would put, you know, a lot more layers of chipboard down here. But because it's going to go on a cover, didn't want it to be too thick. But, you know, that was just my preference. You know, you definitely can put yours on how you like. Okay, so that is on there nicely. Now, I know I said that I was going to use the black frame, but I changed my mind. And I've been filming this over a few days just because I've been so busy this week and just kind of catching it while I can and doing editing. I'm going to go ahead and cover this with paper, and this is just paper. It's not heavy paper. I think it's 27 pounds, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and cover it up, and I'm going to show you how I do that in case you want to do the same thing. So I'm just going to come in here and glue around the inner edge and the outer edge, and a little in between. Okay, so the side you want, of course, is the one laying down on the table. Let me see exactly where I want to go. All right, then when you put this down, you'll want to allow about 3/4 of an inch, or however wide your frame is, so that you can wrap this, because eventually you're going to be wrapping this around your frame, like so. So you want to have plenty there, and I'll just cut it off. There we go. That might have been a little too narrow there, but I think it'll work. So once we've done this, now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to poke a hole in the middle of the frame, and I'm going to cut from that middle to the corner, to each of the corners. There, to each of the corners there. And I'm going to take my bone folder and just make sure that I am folding it over that edge. Like this. And I'm just going to come in here and cut off this excess part. The part that goes past the frame, I'm cutting that off. And we'll just start gluing our papers down. I'm getting down inside this crack area here so that the thickness of the chipboard is glued on right inside that valley there, and pushing it back like so. Now to do the outside edges, I'm just going to miter these corners a little bit, take off sort of the excess, just coming really close to that tip, that corner there, but not meeting it exactly, just coming close to it. All right. And then we'll glue these down like we did the ones on the inside. Coming in the crevice, going around the outer edge of it, a little bit down the middle, and then folding it over. There. And so now that little frame is been nicely covered all the way through. Looks really good. Okay, I really like that. That turned out well. And then that is going to be glued over, of course, this bottom. Let's see, do I have this in the right way? Yes. Okay. And this is going to get glued over the other part. So as long as there's no more that you're going to tuck in there, which I'm not going to, this is then ready to be glued on top of that. So covering that frame was just easy peasy. It didn't take but a minute or two. And so you could actually, if you didn't have any chipboard, you could take several layers of food box cereal boxes to make up like 1/8 of an inch thickness. I don't know how many that would be, but you could do that and then cover it like we did here, and it would be fine. It would be great. So let's just put this on so that we are covering up that bottom frame completely. All right. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Looking good. So now we're going to put in one more layer of dimension. And what I have for that is I have these, they're Tim Holtz ephemera, and they're on a cardboard. I know he's got some that are more paper, I think, but these are his botanical ones, and I purchased this quite a while ago, so I don't really know if he still carries these, but it's on cardboard, or cardstock, I should say. But I went ahead and put on some cardboard from the cereal box just to give it even more heft, so that it doesn't get, bent inside there, and it even gives it a little bit more dimension. So now we have this dimension here that is over the cover. I did the same with this particular one here. And I'm going to be gluing this inside like so. And now his ephemera is shiny, so it is kind of messes up the camera a little bit, but there you go. It kind of gives it a little bit of dimension this way. So let's put this one on first. And so not all of this is going to be contact with the frame, but I think most of it will be. And that's why I'm going to use the glitter glue for that. So there's really not much sense in me putting it here on the ephemera itself, because that's not really what's going to come in contact with the frame. I am just gluing all the rest of it. And I'm trying to put most of it on the frame. So just a little bit of it is angling into towards her, but I think the bulk of that piece of ephemera is resting on the frame, so it should be stable. So there is this one, and I'm going to rest this one up here on top. So I'm really happy that I went ahead and covered this frame. I think the black would have worked well if I was doing something that was more grungy or vintage or something of that nature. And we'll just stick this right like so. Then I have a little butterfly that I went ahead and put cardboard, food box cardboard on that one as well. And I'm going to glue him right up here. And we'll be done. So I think the biggest challenge of these frames, type of frames, is just the planning. Oh, there we go. So there is the frame. It looks really cute, I think, and we'll put it on top of our, once this is completely dried, I will glue it then to the front of our book here. There we go, I backed away a little bit. So this will set right like so. Want to make sure that this does not set over the book. And there is the front of that. It looks so cool. Really love it. I think it turned out really nice. Yep. This turned out great. So that is making a 3D cover for your book. And as I was doing this, I thought another thing you could do is you could actually cut, if you had the right equipment, which I don't know how you would do this. I don't know how I would do it on a book cover from original book. But if you were making your own cover, your own chipboard cover, you could cut a square in this as well, and then put something, another piece of cardboard over the whole inside, and you would have even another layer of depth if you wanted to do that. So just an idea. Anyways, thanks so much for viewing, and I am going to be working in this, and if you like this video, please hit the like button. I appreciate it so much, and thank you again for your lovely comments. And I hope that this gave you some inspiration to try something different. So we will talk to you later. Bye.